India today has 120 million internet users with a penetration of just 10%, one of the lowest in the world. If we continue to grow at the present rate, by 2015, 28% Indians will be accessing the internet, still lower than the world average of 43%. Now consider this. India is the world's second largest mobile phone market, and already by 2015, analysts expect 50% of all internet users will access the web via their mobile phones. The dormant market waiting to be tapped is massive.
70% of all VC investments in India between 2004 and 2009 have been in the technology sector, which broadly encompasses enterprise software, digital consumer spaces like the internet, mobile and new media and engineering. Now, some of the companies that have seen fund infusion have grown in size and scale. But because it takes almost a decade to go from inception to IPO in India, big ticket exits are still a few years away.
Between 2004 and 2011, there were 152 venture-backed exits in India. Of them, 111 were tied to technology companies. In terms of returns, the average multiple on invested capital for technology exits was about 5.2 times compared with 3.4 times for non-tech exits.
But for every tech startup that makes it big, there are many that fall by the wayside. Critics say herd mentality in the investor community in 2010 and 2011 created a bubble of sorts with valuations skyrocketing. But with India adding internet and mobile users by the millions every quarter, the potential for growth is still tremendous. So what does it take to spot and nurture a winner? This week on the show, we put the spotlight on a venture capital fund that invests exclusively in the tech space, IDG Ventures India. Also on the show, a first-generation entrepreneur who set up a fund to build big impact startups in the mobile tech space. Vijay Shekhar Sharma of 197.
We are not the guys who are going to take care of that technology. We are not the CEO of the company. We are investing in the CEO of a company, a founder who can take it forward.
Market is something that you have to understand, not be in a rush to invest. If it means you have to spend a few months to understand the market, so be it.
You just back a team and you back a market. There are times things, either of them or both of them may go wrong. And so what we do then is that I told you so never happens.
IDG Ventures manages more than 6 billion globally with over 200 portfolio companies and 10 offices across Asia and North America. The fund's lead investor and sponsor is the International Data Group, or IDG, the world's largest IT media company. IDG's India Fund was set up in 2005 by Sudhir Sethi, TC Meenakshi Sundaram and Manik Arora. Together, they manage a $150 million fund with 20 startups across the tech space in internet, mobile, SaaS, enterprise services and medical devices.
Get people who are better than you around you in terms of helping you grow the company. The second one would be in terms of go for big markets where you can make a big impact. Sometimes we see very cool technology, but the market size, opportunity size is very small. That doesn't excite a venture capitalist. And the third one, keep your ears to the ground. The shifting sands of market are too fast now. In just 2 quarters, you can become irrelevant in a consumer business.
So one entrepreneur who has his ear close to the ground but his eyes set on building a billion-dollar Indian enterprise is Mukesh Bansal of e-commerce play Myntra.com. Myntra has seen a 22x revenue growth over the last 16 months, but back in 2008, what really impressed Sudhir Sethi was Mukesh Bansal's frugality.
Today, online apparel retailer Myntra clocks in 8,000 transactions per day and has been doubling its revenues every 6 months. Bansal expects to turn profitable next year and analysts see an IPO on the cards. But what investors like about Bansal is that he remembers how he started and those principles still guide his business.
My first visit to Myntra was on a rainy day. This Myntra office was on the first floor. It was in a vegetable market. The thought process which was running in my mind at that point is, this is amazing. I had obviously seen the business plan earlier, that this entrepreneur must be very frugal to have an office in a vegetable market. And I was sort of thinking, what could be the rent here?
For first couple of years, we really used his local knowledge. He introduced us to heads of organization of various companies that we ended up doing business with. He also helped establish very strong corporate governance practice, ensuring we have board, various committees with the board, minutes are documented, which helped us build a very strong foundation from the early days.
While IDG is betting on the internet opportunity, it realizes profit is in the niches, and hence it's put money into specialized online retailers like firstcry.com for child and maternity care, Value Technologies' Lenscart, Watchcart and Bagscart.com, and Zivame, a leading online retailer in the lingerie space.
We believe there are few drivers of this business which you have to get right. To start with, it is customer acquisition cost to be very affordable. The second is in terms of what's your average ticket size that you get. The third is in terms of the margins that you are able to get, which is where most of the companies are either losing money or in very, very single digit margins. And the fourth is repeat business. So you are not just buying new customers, but you are also able to get the customer whom you have got to buy multiple times from you, so you can amortize the marketing cost over them. So if you get these four things right and manage your inventory well, right, you can actually move towards profitability.
Manthan Systems is a good example of the kind of startup IDG likes to invest in the enterprise software space. Established in 2006 by serial entrepreneur Atul Jalan, Manthan has developed a data analytics product used by retail, pharma and finance industries in over 20 countries. But at a time when the product was new, it was the team at IDG that helped crack the right pricing model. This, Atul believes, has been critical to Manthan's success.
They bring in a lot of value, not only of course in terms of bringing money, motivating others also to co-invest or do a subsequent round of investment, but also in bringing in a lot of good advice, guidance in basic operational processes, in the sales thinking.
And Manik Arora, who worked as a VC in Silicon Valley before moving to Bangalore to set up IDG, believes that entrepreneurs here don't lack in innovation or big impact ideas. What they lack is the ability to deal with economies of scale.
When you're trying to build a large company, even with a great product and a good CEO, if you can't recruit the talent around you, which has seen scale, and I'll give you an example here, right? It's one thing to have a strong CTO who can build a good architecture, but it's another thing to have a CTO who can build a good architecture, but can also manage 100 other people who are rock stars at what they do in technology. That's a function of, I think, where we are as an industry that is changing. There are folks coming in from abroad who've had those experiences. The companies in India who are becoming much bigger are building that capabilities. So I see that changing.
And in the quest for profits, IDG also makes it a point to encourage portfolio companies to share learnings with each other. After all, reinventing the wheel can cost time and money.
We make sure that the metrics that they work on, operational metrics, we help define those metrics by learning from each other which are the metrics that the CEOs have found useful. And then we combine, through our research group, we put those metrics together every month and we share them with each other on a confidential basis and say, here, these are the benchmarks. It is possible to hit a 60% repeat ratio. And so when they see that, the entrepreneurs also pick up the phone and talk to each other and say, how did you do that? Oftentimes the best insights come from the team that's not working on the company because, after some time you fall in love with your own baby, right?
And it's never easy cutting the umbilical cord, and successful VCs have learned the art of detaching but not being indifferent. Gently nudging and investing in the right direction without bulldozing an entrepreneur is part of IDG's mentoring style, and that is what the team at Chennai-based medical equipment company Perfint Healthcare is grateful for.
Perfint Healthcare, founded by a team of ex-GE healthcare professionals in 2005, is today one of the leading manufacturers of robotic imaging tools used in cancer treatment. With plans to expand to new markets, Perfint is setting up an R&D base in Seattle, an assembly unit in China, and is looking to close the current fiscal with revenues of around $10 million.
Sudhir and the rest of the directors on the board helped us to move in the direction of oncology, deepening our roots into oncology rather than diversify into other areas. So there are multiple such, and again in fundraising, subsequent rounds of fundraising, be it in valuation, be it in choice of the next investors.
It is this focus on sustainable, consistent growth that IDG values more than the short-term pop, and Sudhir and team make sure they align co-investors to work towards the same goal.
The VCs have to decide what they're best at. In another company, there are 3 subcommittees being formed. One is for sales and marketing, one is for manufacturing, and the other is for the whole operations side. All the 3 investors are taking different subcommittees to a next level. So we found our strengths and we're going to add value through identification of those strengths with the entrepreneur jointly.
If dealing with multiple investors is a fine balancing act, exits can be gut-wrenching affairs. Learning from past experiences, the team at IDG believe clarity on the rules of disengagement or dilution holds the key to securing a startup's future.
Entrepreneurs do not really know how much capital it takes to run a company to exit. We've seen in the digital consumer space, before you get to profitability, the capital amount required could be anywhere between $70 to $100 million. Even the best of the entrepreneurs balked at the idea of raising so much of capital and diluting at the end of the day. I think that takes a little bit of convincing, a little bit of experience, and perhaps gray hair as I have it now.
It may sound mushy, but a sensitive investor can be the shoulder to cry on, a wise counsel and a friend with benefits. And like in any healthy relationship, keeping expectations real is the glue that will hold it all together. That wraps up the IDG story, but on the other side of this short break, we meet a first-generation entrepreneur who set up a fund to build big-impact startups in the mobile tech space. Vijay Shekhar Sharma 197 on India's Angels when we return.